When the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, broadcast its most recent set of deep space images and data, the world of science came to a halt, not in wonder, but in horror-struck amazement. What JWST imaged this time was not just breathtaking in its magnitude, but deeply disturbing in what it said about the universe and humanity's place in it. It broke some of our most basic assumptions regarding the cosmos and human existence. Admired for its unparalleled sensitivity and precision, the telescope had inadvertently revealed something so foreign, so bewildering, that even the most logical minds in astrophysics were left reeling to their very foundations. In the midst of the familiar landscape of shining galaxies, expiring stars, and interstellar gas clouds, JWST trained its mighty infrared devices on an area of space long ignored by astronomers. This specific patch, once labeled simply as a calibration area, had never garnered much attention. To traditional telescopes, it was a featureless void, without stars, planets, or other notable celestial features. But when Webb's refined instruments scanned it, that blackness came to life with odd and intriguing signals. Early on, what seemed to be happening was seemingly harmless, a gravitational clump of mass orbiting an invisible center, a dark matter halo, or an invisible black hole. But the deeper the observations went, the more unusual the picture grew. JWST detected rhythmic bursts of energy, cycles of light and radiation so regular, so mathematically well-behaved, that chance could nearly be eliminated altogether. These pulses recurred at times that fell into prime numbers, a fact that the researchers picked up on right away. Prime sequences are not typically observed in natural cosmic events. Their employment is generally a sign of artificial cause because prime number sequences are usually held to be an indicator of intelligence universal in application. More disturbing yet, the signals did not originate from a single point. They had come from various places, separate regions of light years between them, yet beat as one in perfect synchrony. Synchronization is difficult enough to accomplish on Earth, and yet such was occurring across galaxies. To preserve coherence over such huge distances would involve either simultaneous communication or an energy control system beyond science's understanding. It became clear that what the JWST was observing was not merely a coincidence of nature, but maybe the remnants of a design, one on a scale so grand it belied human understanding. Before long, it was not only the frequency or synchronicity of the signals that were getting noticed, but what they consisted of. These weren't mere pulses, these were layered, encoded, having complex information. When translated to their visual spectrogram form, researchers noticed repeating geometric patterns, spirals, hexagons, fractals, even complex multidimensional shapes never before recorded. Some were similar to ancient human symbols, distorted and fragmentary as if they had passed through distorted space and time. Others had connections to basic constants in physics, pi, the golden ratio, and Fibonacci sequences, only twisted and reversed in strange manners. The deeper they went, the worse it got. Thermal scans from the onboard cameras on JWST picked up intentional fluctuations in the heat signature. These were not random emissions. The thermal pulses were also rhythmic, repeating the encoded patterns in the electromagnetic spectrum. It suggested the possibility that sections of space were being cycled through heating and cooling in cycles. The implications were mind-bending. A process like this would need either unimaginable amounts of energy or control over thermodynamic forces, maybe both. Theories flourished. Some suggested it was a type of propulsion, harnessing space itself as a medium. Others theorized it was communication, not from us, but stumbled upon by accident. Others boldly questioned, what if this was not a message? What if it was a surveillance system, an extraterrestrial beacon, or a type of computational framework woven into the fabric of existence? The idea that it was possible for something, or someone, to be manipulating space-time so as to transmit information was no longer laughed off as science fiction. JWST had moved it into the realm of scientific discourse. Facilities worldwide were unprepared. Initially, there was wonderment, reverence. But that soon gave way to secrecy and dread. International observatories were sent urgent messages. Groups processing the raw data were told to categorize their discoveries. Some areas of the signal were designated as non-public, and database records were removed unobtrusively from open-source repositories. Some researchers on the decoded algorithms experienced psychological symptoms, intense dreams, exhaustion, even paranoia. Some described the signals as if they responded in a subtle way to their probing, as if they sensed being observed. These assertions, naturally, were impossible to prove and dismissed as anecdotal stress reactions. But secretly, even the most cynical minds spoke of a likelihood that we were not only receiving a message, but being observed in return. And then came the most inexplicable find: variable redshifts on the signals. In accordance with ordinary physics, light from a faraway source shifts toward the red end as it propagates through the expanding universe, a phenomenon called redshift. But sections of these signals showed erratic redshifts, some even seemingly blue-shifting in a surprise move, as if the sources were towards us, or worse still, contra to the direction of cosmic expansion itself. This was a sign of faster-than-light travel, or maybe, time distortion. The prospect emerged: what if such signals weren't traveling through space, but time? Were they perhaps echoes from the future? Or messages sent deliberately in reverse into our portion of existence? The closer it came to resolving, the greater was the sense of desperation. Increasing patterns within the signals began to fall into place, too ominously, alongside Earth's own astronomical past. Some of the pulses keyed in with the timing of recognized gamma-ray bursts that had struck Earth long ago. Others fell into line, eerily similarly, with mass extinctions, sun cycles, or geomagnetic reversals. The mathematical probability of such overlap happening by chance was small, too small to ignore. A contentious paper leaked into the academic community posited that these signs may not only be evidence of cosmic intelligence, but cosmic memory, a repository of activity spanning eons. Was this a type of galactic database? A library inscribed into the texture of light and gravity? If so, then why would we be permitted, or driven, to glimpse it now? Public release was considered but postponed. The risk of panic, disinformation, and religious or political manipulation hung too large. Intelligence agencies and space establishments created joint task forces instead. Civilian scientists who were involved were reassigned or absorbed in quiet fashion into classified branches. Leaks occurred despite attempts to keep the news under wraps. Whispers circulated in online communities, fringe publications, and private Discord channels. By the time the press found out, most of the early data had been buried or deleted, but the questions persisted. Among the most hotly debated concepts to take hold among physicists and cosmologists was that the signals weren't coming from distant stars or even advanced civilizations at all. Rather, they could have been produced by structures, artificial megastructures, hidden in the web of dark matter that permeates the universe. These frameworks, perhaps enormous machines, could be as ancient as the universe itself and functioning in areas inaccessible to light. The theory of Dyson spheres had never been more than speculation, but what JWST observed now made the notion seem positively tame in comparison. Others theorized the structures were dimensional anchors, devices intended to stabilize or possibly reshape physical reality throughout galaxies. The possibilities extended beyond. What if these buildings were the remains of an intergalactic conflict? Or portals to alternate universes? What if human civilization had found not an intelligence, but a legacy, a trace of something much more advanced than life itself? A smaller group promoted an even more bizarre concept, that this intelligence was not alien in nature, but ancestral. That the mathematical symmetries and geometric patterns in the signals shared too much resemblance with ancient Earth languages, symbols, and sacred patterns to be chance. They speculated that Earth's life itself, its evolution, and even consciousness may be a seeded event, one set in motion by these cosmic designers. These notions, though given short shrift in public, fueled late nights of hushed debate among the planet's best minds. The fear wasn't just of what these signals meant, it was of what they might awaken. If we were meant to find them, what came next? But if we weren't, what danger had we invited by observing them? Others thought this was the beginning of disclosure, a calculated unveiling from entities who had watched us come along and deemed us worthy. Others were not so positive. What if the signals were not messages, but warnings? Beacons established long ago to keep a threat away or deter. Or worse, instructions for something yet to come. In spite of dissension, there was one thing that all observers of the event agreed on: the James Webb Space Telescope had seen something that would transform humankind forever. Whether knowledge, horror, or transcendence ensued, nothing would ever be the same again. The silence of the universe had been shattered, and whatever existed out there had replied, not with words, but in the very fabric of existence. Something timeless had responded. If you enjoyed this tale as much as we did, then please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more news about the James Webb revelations and the bizarre enigmas of outer space. And now we leave it up to you. What do you believe JWST revealed? Are we alone within this universe, or have we merely not been listening very hard? Leave your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remain curious.